All right. Are we all together? Oh, you're so picky. Everybody good? Oh, yeah, those are all down here.
Stop.
Yeah.
I almost sat on it. Triggered my PTSD.
All right. Okay. Did y'all have a nice Labor Day weekend? Anybody do anything?
Yes.
Yeah, we went down there too. We didn't like go, but we went down there. A bunch of what?
Really good panels.
Panels. We didn't go to any panels. We did walk in the Walk of Fame room, and no, David Tennant wasn't there. David Tennant wasn't there. Was there? Lou Ferrigno, Catherine Tate. I was hugely excited about that.
Over there.
Was
Yeah. Shannon Purser.
He was there, but you have to like wait for him.
Oh yeah.
I'm watching that show to y'all now. I think y'all like it a bit.
Good. All right, so.
My mom took me Saturday and I had to go with my friends on Sunday, so.
Had to go twice.
The ball guy.
All right, Cole, yo, you with me? Okay, so this is the last one of these review ones with you guys, right? Because now we're moving into the real stuff. And everybody saw the email, right? There's no more like, oh, this email every week. Usually it comes out Tuesday evening, but this week it got crazy. Last week it got crazy because the Mustang arrived, so it came out Wednesday. But basically every week check your email. So now that we're getting into the real material for this class, that's the in-depth stuff, we're going to start like the late policy with the point deductions and whatever, right? Right. See how they're going to be with it. People are with it in here.
Yeah.
All right, so go back to my screen sharing here so I can pull up my notes. Whew, that was a fun lab, but boy, was it hot.
Yes.
Man,
So
Georgia.
you can see how many things you typo.
Yeah, I know. I'm bad with typos.
Some of them have like 9-3 on them when it's for the next
Yeah,
week.
because that's what I meant by like the formatting's gonna be crazy because I had to crank out all these lessons at the very beginning. The next set shouldn't be as wild. I can spend more time on them. And I'll be starting them this week to write the next 9 weeks.
All right.
All right, so
Let's start brownie points.
okay, what have you got?
So phases, the different shapes O to moon visible from Earth.
Oh, you caught one? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any others?
I told you about that one. You said it hadn't been caught.
Yeah, I think that one had been caught. Wasn't that the one you caught?
I caught it.
Lily, you caught it? No, you caught it.
I caught it.
That one had been caught. Yes.
Got it. Yeah, got it.
Then
I caught
solar
one.
nebula,
I got it.
a large fiend, a cloud of gas.
That one got. That one Lily caught. Okay.
This might just be an incomplete sentence. Radiation zone, a dense region piling compressed gas where you don't say.
Oh, I don't say where. Okay, that's a good one. All right, good call. Excellent. Glad you caught him. All right, so.
And then also,
Oh.
I got two.
Okay.
Neutron star and black hole. I
Okay.
mean, I'm not sure about the black hole, but just like the neutron star, dense remnants of a high mass star.
Oh, we got that. Good. Okay.
The black hole, I'm not sure if he meant like strong or whatever. So
Black
Earth's
hole.
gravity is
So,
so
like-
light that not even.
That's
light.
fine. Yeah.
Light?
Yeah.
Is
Light.
that, like what it,
Light as in not heavy, not strong. Yeah, that works. Okay. So, all right.
Oh yeah, another one.
Oh,
Galaxy, group of stars, star systems, star clusters.
okay. Got another one. Good. I'm a very, very, very bad typist and always have been, despite my trying to get better at it. And I don't catch my own typos, which is like,
That was the reason why my
That's a-
daughter dropped.
yeah, that's
She had like the second biggest score.
I can catch other people's. I can't catch my own. It's part of the ADHD stuff. I just read what I meant to write and I don't see it. But I can catch other people's. I'm great at editing other people's stuff. So. I know, but see all those things, most of those things are words.
Yeah.
Ours a word, so it doesn't catch it. Yeah, stir's a word. Yep.
STR.
Yep. And then you get spell check when it doesn't catch things like lightning and lightning because those are both words. So that's just the wrong word. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll do this. Let's see. Most of the stuff is review for most of you guys. For those of you who weren't here last year, the three of you, was there anything in here that was totally new to you, or had you seen some of it before? Something?
I'm thinking of
Aaron's
leaving.
unsure. Yeah.
Some of it was new. I just went more in depth of the stuff I learned,
Okay.
but I had a general idea.
A general idea.
So
What about you, Shannon? Was it all totally new? Hang
Science
on. I'm talking. Was it totally new? No. Good. What did you say?
was so we're basically did an entire year of earth science curriculum.
No, it's not an entire year. It just squashed some things down.
Impressive.
Okay.
Well, my
Y'all keep an eye on the
cool-
news this week because Dorian is fascinating, if not terrifying.
Is it staying in the Bahamas right now? Like,
It's really weird. I got up this morning and looked at it, and it was exactly where it was last night. That is bad news. Did you see there's
that means
a,
it's still growing.
I'll show you.
Increasing its
We die
power
when it
level.
comes here.
There's a funny,
It's gonna be like,
hang on, I'm gonna show you real quick because this made me giggle. Where is it? There's a little video this morning that made me giggle. I'll show you.
Is it funny?
Oh, the
Yes.
with the.
Where'd it go? Here it is.
Oh, like 3 little kids playing baseball.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah, like hurricane. Like
Yeah, here you go.
pushing During one.
Okay, hold on. Here you go. This is great. Sorry, I'm still giggling at it because it's so cute. Okay. Can everybody see it?
Oh my god. I love
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Look at him. But that's the basic idea right now, right? I mean, it is not going anywhere. So.
Have you seen the one of the newscaster talking about Dorian, and then like in the background some Florida dude jumps in the water and like starts surfing?
I haven't seen that, but I did hear that that I love the photo bombers. I did hear that that Shepard Smith had a good report, actually, that his was funny. I haven't seen it yet though.
I saw one this morning.
Oh yeah?
This guy, this Floridian, I think that's the word.
Yeah.
And so he was on the news and he's like, you know what? The way that we can stop these is if we haul ice from Greenland.
There's always that. There's that, sure.
or we can just buy one.
No offense to anyone that is actually from Florida, but Florida people they cray a little bit.
Florida's always in the news for something insane.
Have you Googled your birthday and then put Florida Man?
Yeah.
Grandparents.
you know
Don't
why?
do it.
You know why?
If there's a subreddit called Florida Man,
Yes, there is. There is.
They have a law.
I know, that's
Uh-huh.
why I said there's a subreddit called Florida.
Police encounter.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that's why we
So
see
they
them
have
all?
So that's
Okay.
why we see them.
Hmm.
That stuff happens everywhere,
Everywhere.
but they only have to tell about it.
I just remember the first one that I remember where I went, oh gosh, Florida, was there was a couple years ago where like bath salts was a thing. Did you all ever hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy did bath salts and then like tried to eat someone's head. And it was like all over the news. Yeah, like he tried to bite another person. It was all like
I have a
no.
whole account called Florida People Gone Wild.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's drugs, not bath salts.
Well, yeah, but
They were using
people
bath
use them
salts.
like drugs. Yeah.
When you get high on bath salts.
Apparently,
Don't get Aaron any ideas.
I have no ideas. Yeah. All right. So.
Radio station.
Inject it into your blood.
So I did this with the younger group, and they totally got it. So let's see. Where's my? There it is. All right. Let's look at these. You guys are good with this stuff. Here's a Latin prefix, which means what?
Earth.
Oh, hey, you love it. You'll have it
Geologist.
real fast. Yeah, like geologist.
Geocentric.
That was the next one. Geocentric. Okay. Obviously, that means
Like center.
centered, right?
Big root word.
Okay.
My grandmother.
So what's this other prefix here?
Helium. Sun.
And what's that?
Sun.
Sun. Somebody find me another word having to do with the sun that has helio in it.
Helium.
Heliocentric.
Google it, look it up.
Helium?
No, not
No.
heliocentric. Find me
No.
another one.
Helium.
You said helium.
Helio cup.
Find me one.
No.
Okay.
Who's got a phone?
I got it.
Helio. See what you got.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Hold on.
She's looking.
Helio, sun.
Was helium work or?
Hold on. No, she's
No?
looking for a word with helio.
Earth,
Do we have any?
Helio sun? No. I'm
Helio
sorry.
sun.
Words like helio.
I'm looking. I can only find some.
Just type in words like helio.
Words that contain helium.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, there's perhelio, there's heliotrope, there's heliograph, there's helium.
How about heliotrope? That one you guys should be able to figure out.
Helium what?
Heliotrope. What's a heliotrope?
Well, the troposphere is in
the sky.
is in the sky. So
Very descriptive.
it's one of the atmospheres. Isn't it like the lowest atmosphere?
Yeah, troposphere. But
Troposphere.
this, yep,
So
there's this one here.
heliotrope.
I said the weather one.
So wait a minute, listen. Can you think of any other words? So she's doing trope. She's thinking of troposphere, right?
Yes, I am.
Wait, is there an H there?
No.
Ah, so maybe it's not.
It's trope.
Okay, so what has trope?
Trough.
How about if I said
You got troph, bro. Make sure to share following fabulous troph.
does that remind you of anything?
Autograph.
Autograph.
Autotrope.
Oh, I
That's
see
not
that. I see autotrope. Hold on.
Nice.
What's an autotrope?
I'm
Does
looking,
anybody
bro.
Is
remember?
it like an autograph?
No.
An automatic troph. That's what it is.
All right.
It's an organism that is able to form nutritional organic substances from simple ignorant
Inorganic.
inorganic.
Organic. Okay, so it has to do with forming nutrition. So somebody look up this one. Somebody look up that right here. What's that mean?
Troph?
Did somebody find it?
Oh,
All got thumbs.
I know.
Why am I the only one doing it?
I don't know.
Produce-
Type
It's
it.
a suffix.
The suffix, and what's it mean?
Origin? No.
What
Chemotrope? I don't know.
Chemotrope. Okay,
Oh.
there's another one.
Ah,
It means one who nourishes.
Frank is yeah.
Ah,
Franking
it's got to do with
letter.
nourishment. Okay.
Ask Siri what Frank is.
What does Frank mean, Siri?
So,
She says no.
what do you suppose a chemotrope would do? How about this?
Therapy.
Everybody, be real quiet. Alexa, what's the definition of a chemotrope? No, not a king bed. Alexa, what is the definition of chemotrope?
I'm not sure.
Oh, she's failed us.
An organism that contains energy.
I'm guessing
Okay.
chemo is like
Energy.
radiation chemotherapy or something like that.
This is like chemical.
So we can create some
So
chemical.
how about this? Alexa, what's the definition of heliotrope?
Heliotrope is usually defined as inherent plant belonging to the genus Heliotrope of the borage family, as Atarborescens, cultivated for its small, fragrant, purple flowers. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for
No.
heliotrope.
Right. So it's a type of plant. So this trope right here, this has to do with energy, nourishment, whatever you need to grow. So heliotrope would get its energy from
The sun.
the sun, right? A chemotrope would get it right.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's-
Autotroph would make, this is like makes its own. We consider plants autotrophic even though they really are kind
I
of
was gonna think it
heliotropic,
got its energies from cars.
right?
This is too complex.
It's
The lore got too
horrible
deep.
line.
Yeah.
The
The lore got too deep. That's good. All right, so that's helio. So helio means sun. So we have sun-centered and we have earth-centered. Okay, who came up with the geocentric? Who do we get to blame for that? No, do we remember?
I don't know.
A famous smart guy.
Okay, let me do it this way. He's one of the scientists that is super well known, but isn't of European origin. And there are fewer of those. No,
No.
not of European origin. He was Who's Egyptian?
Oh,
Oh!
Pharaoh.
No.
my dude,
King Tut.
Plato.
King Tut.
Ptolemy.
Ptolemy. Ptolemy. All right.
It's just
Oh, he's a
So
pharaoh.
who came up with our heliocentric?
Ptolemy.
No.
Go left.
This dude was European.
God himself.
Yes.
No.
Copernicus.
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 What's the name of my fish? Copernicus.
Copernicus.
Ah, that beta that's up there. His water needs cleaning, but oh, here's a word I taught the younger group this one today. Copernicus was one of these. What's that?
Polymath.
What's a polymath?
I
don't remember.
Oh.
You've heard it. It's in Hamilton.
Yeah.
There's a
Oh,
lyric with that in it.
Yeah.
Multiple, very smart, multiple professions.
Right. They have a vast amount of knowledge in a wide variety, as in multiple or many, and as in logic or knowledge. So other polymaths would be.
The multiple logic.
Somebody give me an example of a polymath.
Ben
Hamilton.
Franklin.
Ben Franklin. How about who else?
George Washington? No.
Steve
A little bit.
Stupid.
A little bit. No, a little bit. Not stupid.
Oh,
A little bit.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. No. How about
Elon Musk.
Yes.
Bill Gates.
Elon Musk? I would definitely say Richard Branson.
Who?
Richard Branson.
Jeff
Da
Bezos,
Vinci. Yeah, these are all polymaths,
Marcus
right?
Garvey.
People with a lot of knowledge
Good at money.
in a lot of diverse areas. Okay. So Copernicus was most definitely a polymath. I wrote in, I'll tell you because it's interesting. In the one I did for the juniors, I mentioned that he was, this is cool about
Ben
them.
Franklin?
No.
Oh.
So I wrote, just so you know, I told them, shh, guys, side conversations. So Claudius Ptolemy was an Egyptian mathematician, astronomer, geographer, and astrologer who lived in the Roman Empire around 100 to 170 AD. Okay? And he's well known for producing the most commonly accepted model of his time, which is geocentric. And then the heliocentric model had been proposed as early as 380, but it wasn't until 1543. That's a big gap. 1543 that Copernicus, and here he is, a multilingual mathematician, astronomer, physician, classic scholar, translator, governor, diplomat, economist, and Catholic cleric with a doctoral degree in canon law. Not a dumb guy, but here's what he did. Here's what he did that was so amazing. Wait a minute.
That's sibling problem.
He was able to prove that the Earth and other planets revolve around the sun, and he did it by creating a mathematical model. Other people had suggested it. He was the first one to use math to prove it. And Copernicus lived in what was then Royal Prussia. It's now Poland. So both Copernicus and Ptolemy were polymaths. And here's a list of other polymaths just for fun. George Washington Carver, Archimedes, Michelangelo, Sir Isaac Newton, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and potentially the best known, Da Vinci.
Elon Musk too.
Elon Musk too.
Yeah, I put him up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may have big aspirations in life, but no matter how big they are, you can't get as good as this Copernicus guy.
Copernicus was cool.
I'd say Beyonce's up there.
Here's what I look
I
like.
thought polymath, but
I got pictures of him.
Beyonce?
They're
No,
all
not
big
Beyonce. You know what Beyonce looks like.
I don't think she's gonna be.
Yeah, you know what he looks like. Here is a
Beyonce is not
picture.
many
Nice
logic.
bit. So this was Ptolemy. Ptolemy was this dude over here. Yeah. And Copernicus was, I gotta look at it, I'm upside down. Copernicus is hiding over here behind my little video stream. Let me move him down. Oh, there he goes. Come on. This is Copernicus. Copernicus is right under our video. See Copernicus?
Yeah.
He has like a pinchy little face. Freddie Mercury.
Wait, let me see. Let me see him again.
I'm not too sure about Freddie Mercury, but
Like you watched the beginning of the movie.
that's not really Freddie Mercury.
I know.
Okay, then, all right. All right, so what kind, how do we describe Earth's orbit? What do we describe it as? Is it circular? What is it?
It's
Say it.
Linear.
Not linear. You were almost
Elliptical.
there. You were almost, whoa.
Whoa.
I meant that is
This class in the language.
Sorry.
Ethan.
All
yeah.
right.
Crap.
Okay.
I said crap.
He said yes. That's what he said.
Oh, he said the other word.
Falls out of your mouth so easily, son.
It's like the word, but it's like
It's
a circle
okay.
with like.
That's right. Ivy's right. It's like a circle, but it's not. A circle looks like this. Elliptical. It's an elliptical plane. Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah. I was listening to
Did
Ivy.
you say
She's
five?
prettier than you. An elliptical plane. All right. Excellent.
Sorry.
So work on it, Michael. Work on it. All right.
Yeah, Michael, maybe she wear some makeup next time.
There you go. So what do we use when we're not using the little wheel? What do we use to measure? What unit do we measure with? No.
Metric.
No. What unit do we measure things in the solar system with? Too
Astronomical
far.
unit.
Astronomical unit.
Yeah.
Right? Are y'all checking your notes to make sure you've got all these right? 'Cause these are the things you need for your test. Always be sure you got all this information.
Yep, I've got an Australia.
Okay. Australia, AU. All right.
By the way, if it's Australia, it's right upside down.
So what NASA space mission went to the moon? What was Apollo? There we go. Yep. Mhm. All right, very good. Cole, stop side conversations. Thank you. So Apollo went to the moon. Who was on the moon?
Neil Armstrong.
And
Buzz Aldrin.
and who was the other person that went but didn't get to step?
Collins.
Michael Collins.
Why didn't you step
When he stayed in the
Command module.
the command module, which means that he got to go but not
He
go.
wasn't. He didn't.
Honestly,
The thing he was in didn't touch the earth.
No.
No, and didn't touch the moon. And think
Neil
about it.
Armstrong.
Every one of you just said Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin.
But no one
And
said
almost
that.
nobody knew about Michael Collins.
Right.
And without him, they would have never gotten home. So he's hugely important.
Collins or Holland?
Collins with a C.
Collins.
And do you guys know about do you guys know, we talked about last year that Buzz Aldrin brought communion to the moon,
Yeah. Yep.
right? And do you know that his church in Texas celebrates
Yes.
lunar communion every year?
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Isn't that amazing? I love that. That is so flippin' cool.
Are all of them still alive?
No,
Aldrin.
Armstrong died.
Aldrin.
Aldrin's alive. I think Collins
Aldrin beat up
is.
some guy apparently.
Okay, yeah. If you want to watch an interesting video, I'm not going to play it because it has all kinds of language and stuff in it. But Buzz Aldrin, you know, most of these guys that were in NASA were selected because they were in the military. A lot of them were like fighter pilots and things of that sort. They were really smart guys and they were really tough. They were supposed to be like the quote unquote manliest of men, right? We were doing our astronauts and these were our perfect American samples of men, right? Because the whole world was watching. So Buzz Aldrin did several years ago. He was coming out of a building and some guy started yelling at him, carrying on about how he was a faker and a liar and a coward and the moon landing never happened. He's one of those moon landing deniers, you know?
Whoa.
Yeah. He's one of the moon landing deniers. So he starts yelling at Buzz Aldrin and he keeps getting up in his face. And Buzz Aldrin tells him, you know, leave me alone, go away. And I think he heard coward like one too many times. Personally, if I'd risk my life to go to the moon when people didn't know if you were going to like explode. Yeah. Oh yeah. He hauls off and he's like 80 something and he just socks this dude in the jaws. He's not very, yeah. It's interesting to watch because you're like, wow, that old dude.
Now, if you want to find this video, lively, your world star hip
It's
hop.
if you look up Buzz Aldrin punches a guy on YouTube, you know, it'll pull
On
up.
YouTube, how's it not like demonetized?
Mhm.
Channel terminated.
It's pretty cool.
Video of him punching the guy.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Somebody was filming the whole thing on the street and he's like kapow.
Thank
But
God.
my favorite recent Buzz Aldrin thing is he was on an episode of 30 Rock. And you gotta watch
We watched
anything
it last
NBC
year.
on Hulu, right? I was gonna say, those of you that didn't see it last year, he did an episode of 30 Rock where the moon's out during the day and he starts yelling at it. And he's like, I see you, go back to the night. Like the moon haunts him his whole life. It's funny. So
That's hilarious. I remember watching that. That was
Oh, yeah, I think
it
I've
was
seen
great.
that before.
That's a really good
Like
show.
the other moon of someone else.
Yeah, with it's Tina Fey. All right, so the Earth's moon. So we're in section 2 now. The lack of an atmosphere allows the moon's surface temperature to vary tremendously. So since it doesn't have much of an atmosphere to trap in warmth or cool, when it rotates and it's the part of it facing away from,
Someone's
yeah, because the school room's right there. But the part of it,
circles and you just slam it into the wall.
the part of it away from the sun gets super cold, and the part of it facing the sun gets super hot. So there are three main features on the moon. What are they?
Maria,
So
Highlands, and Craters.
Yeah, Maria Highlands and craters. And so that's one. No, it's spelled just like Maria.
Yeah.
So here's another one. I did this too. When we're talking about scientific vocabulary and being able to decipher words.
Someone just texted
No
someone.
biggie. It's a news update.
Oh.
Updated
So you got
news.
these. Here's a root right here.
Mars.
You see that in words like this?
Yes.
Marine.
Oh, yeah, we're also like
So what's-
Mars, which is like a back candy bar.
That's
Marina.
different. So, yeah, marine, marina.
Like
So what's Mar?
water?
What do,
I asked about like English
Close.
word.
how are the Maria described?
Flat.
All flat. Yeah, it's this. So the Maria look like seeds, right? Remember there's one called the Sea of
Mars.
Tranquility,
Oh yeah.
right? There's lots of them, but
Sure.
Apollo used Sea of Tranquility. All right, so that's one. Highlands is obvious, right? They're the highlands or the mountainous region. And then the craters. Okay, so those are formed by what?
Meteor.
Not asteroids, or what do you think? Meteors. Okay, meteor. Remember this last year? Okay, here's our surface of the moon.
Like, are meteors meteor and meat? And you,
No, okay.
what?
All I heard was meteor, and then.
What's this? If this is our surface of the moon,
It's a crater.
guys,
It's a meteor.
if this is our surface, what's this?
It's a meteor.
It is a
Comet.
You're right.
M-E-A-T-E.
It's a meteor.
Asteroid and a meteor.
and not just the rock, the whole phenomenon of the rock and the tail behind it and the light and the whole phenomenon, right? It's less the rock and more the phenomenon, right? Okay, so then if it goes down here and lands here, now what is it?
Meteor. Right.
Crater.
Yes.
Meteor. Oh.
Now it's a meteorite. Remember?
So right before it makes a hole.
No, when it touches the ground. If it touches the ground, it's a meteorite. If it's moving through the air, the phenomenon is the
But
meteoroid.
doesn't that mean it's in some cases it will only be a meteorite for like that because then it'll just
Well, it'll actually be a meteorite for a while. You just don't see it until you see it. It's kind of like if
so
a
like what if it
tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Right? It's still there even if you don't recognize it. But when it hits the ground, it becomes the meteorite. All right. So that's what causes the crater. So the rocks that travel through space, that whole phenomenon is the meteoroid. So somebody tell me how we think the moon formed.
Cheese.
Wait.
Wait a minute. She had a question. Yep.
Wasn't it like there was a planet or something?
Oh, uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Got like smashed. A bunch of stuff got smashed into it and it died in a minute.
Right, kind of. Okay, so
Yeah, two
Did you-
planets collided. One was like, now Earth, and oh, look, there's a massive chunk floating around here.
right. We don't know if it was two planets. We'll just call it two masses, right? So there's two masses in space. And what a lot of scientists think is that, well, a lot of scientists think that they were almost coming together, almost like you think about a binary star. You know how they do this? But at some point, something happened and one smacked into the other and broke off a chunk. And the chunk formed over here, and then the Earth formed over here. So we have a moon and an Earth. So,
I'm about to say Big Bang.
yeah, well, all those little pieces together would have come from that initially. Yeah,
If
they
it
were
would
just
create
near.
a Big Bang with two planets colliding.
Yeah, it would have definitely created a bang. Yeah. So
Big bang.
somebody explain this to me.
The
How come? Okay. What force is there between the moon and the Earth?
Gravity.
Gravity. So the moon is being pulled towards
Towards us.
Earth. Okay. Anybody ever taken, something on the end of a string or whatever and swung it around? Okay. Where does it want to go? If you let go, where's it going?
Out.
Away. So
Yeah, it doesn't like.
if the moon is spinning around the Earth and it wants to go away, and gravity is pulling it towards the Earth, So what do we get? What's the result of that?
A
Oh,
spinning moon
the-
coming at Earth.
Yeah, it's doing both. It's got opposite forces on it, right? You got one force pulling it towards Earth, one force pulling it away from Earth.
You get,
So that's how it stays where it stays.
so you need to make an equilibrium of 2 forces.
Yeah. And it is kind of drifting a little, I think. But you guys remember that it didn't have a perfectly round path either. Like if this was Earth, remember that the moon had this nice elliptical, and when it's closer here, and then it's farther here, right?
It
So,
also looks farther on the other side.
Yeah. so the moon has different phases, right? What phase are we in? Does anybody know?
No.
I didn't.
Oh,
I
it's
didn't
a
look
crescent.
at
It's
it.
really small.
The moon phase.
It's a crescent.
It's a crescent. It is really small. Is it
Last night-
waxing or waning?
Waxing.
It is waxing. What were you gonna say?
2 nights ago, it was
Mhm.
orange. It was
Yeah.
super skinny.
It was tiny. I saw it too. I saw it night before last as well, and it was this itty bitty little sliver of a moon, right? And then last night we were at the pool, and it was a little thicker, so that means it's waxing. So when it gets thinner, it's what?
Waning.
Waning. All right, very good.
Like
So-
hand-
Like what?
Oh,
A candle. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah.
smash subscribe.
So you have different phases or different shapes of the moon that are visible from Earth. So the moon's always round, right? It's just how much of a shadow is on it, what we can see. And they're caused in changes by relative position. So what is an eclipse?
When either
When one
Hang on, wait
celestial
a minute, he's answering. Go ahead, Ethan.
when one celestial body overpasses another.
Okay, what are the two kinds of eclipses?
Solar and lunar.
Okay, can you tell me the difference between them?
Solar eclipse is where the moon overshadows the sun, and a lunar eclipse is where the sun overshadows the moon.
Very good.
It's the Earth.
I was about to say, very good description. So the solar eclipse is when the moon puts the shadow on Earth, right? So the moon goes in front of the sun. And the lunar eclipse is when the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. All right. So which kind did we have a couple years ago?
Solar.
Mhm.
Four.
It was solar. Did everybody see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody
I
should have
went
seen it.
all away to see,
Hmm.
but it wasn't.
We did too.
Ethan
So
was in Arizona.
what do you call the
Why?
shadow?
I don't know. I was really.
Do you know what you call the shadow in the eclipse? What do we call the shadow?
Pre-umbra?
The preumbra is the edge.
Oh,
Yep. And then the umbra is the shadow. Good. Excellent.
that happens.
From what?
All right. So when, all
You click the moon.
Yeah.
right. So let's do this one again. I hate these neap tide and spring tide. I understand the concept, but I have trouble remembering which one goes with which. Makes me nuts.
Green one is the biggest.
Yeah. So here's the idea. You have the Earth, okay? And you have the moon. All right? And the moon is doing this kind of a thing, right? So sometimes it's farther, sometimes it's closer. It doesn't get quite that close. Good gracious, that would be terrible. All right? All right. So
Hopefully not that close.
if you're right here, or if the moon moves to here and you're right here, what effect is it going to have on the water?
Cold.
Yeah, it's going to pull it. So let's say that this moon moves this way and it's right here. All right, here's the water on Earth.
Danny.
And,
That's
Alright,
hair.
that's mine.
right, so this is a lot of gravity right here, right? So it's pulling water from the entire planet towards it. So if you live in this portion of the Earth, you're going to get high or low.
Danny.
Oh,
Brownie point. Neap tide. Change between
Size.
high and low tides. The is.
What?
That
it is.
It says
Yeah. He's right.
between high and low tides.
The is. Above it says is.
Oh, the
below it
is.
says
Oh, yeah, it said is the. Very good. See, I don't see them. I really, honestly do not see them. It's so weird. I think you guys are at like 20 now.
How much do we need?
25.
and like the
We
difference.
were at 18 like before this started, and then Ethan started
I'll be
talking
honest.
about
And then you must be like 22. All right, so what if you're over here? Are your tides going to be low or high if you're on this side? They're going to be low, right? So that's the idea. And then when it's here, you know, it's really far away versus when it's right here. So it's about the effect, and it's not. This isn't this year's lesson anyway, but the idea is that if you've got a nice big full moon and it's right there near you, you're going to have full tides. And that's why a lot of people go, like when they do there's a lot of coastal areas that have traditions with the full tide and with harvesting whatever lives there, crabs or fish or whatever. For example, Drew's godparents, his godmother's from Beaufort, South Carolina, and they wanted to be positive they were getting married. They put the moon calendar in consideration for when they got married because they wanted to have their reception at a location that was on the water there, and that's all marsh. And she was like, I am absolutely not doing it at low tide. It smells. So she considered what phase the moon would be in, and there was a nice big full moon that night. So there was nice high tide, and it didn't stink. But she considered that. So people that live in coastal areas like that, this impacts their life, their day-to-day planning, what they do.
Yeah, I remember. I was staying in vacation once, and like on a beachfront house, and there was just the wedding going on out there.
Oh, yeah?
We were just like watching it.
That's cool.
See people kissing or something like that. And people watching like.
All right, you're a little voyeuristic, so we'll just. Okay. Let's leave that there. So yes, your spring tide, the change between high and low tides is greatest, and your neap tide, the change between high and low tides is least. All right, terrestrial planets. Those are our inner planets, right? What are our 4 terrestrial planets?
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. And why do we call them terrestrial planets? What's terrestrial mean?
Live, land, like
Land.
Land. How about this one?
oil.
There's this one right here. That word, or
Terrain.
how about this? Yep, terrain,
Terrifying.
territory,
Terraform.
terraform. There's one. How about
Terrifying.
terrifying?
Prairie.
Isn't so much the same.
Terror.
I don't think.
Land. Pterodactyl.
But yeah, terrestrial, extraterrestrial.
Pterodactyl.
Here's one. You ever hear choral music? This is a common theme.
Choral music?
Or as in CHA or AF,
Carapax.
as in a chorus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Carapax.
Not the
That's the
same.
person
That's
actually
in
going.
Terrapox hominibus. Do you know that one?
No,
Nope.
Latin or French.
It's Latin, but it's very common.
Is it Spanish?
Let me see.
It's not Spanish.
Wait a minute.
No habla.
Hang on.
Español.
Oh my god. Stop.
It's not. It's Latin.
Spanish.
On Earth, peace.
Latin
men.
is.
What
Wait.
do you suppose that
Wait.
Wait, what's that?
How would we translate it?
Martina.
mankind? I'm running out of room. How would we translate it?
On Earth would be.
Peace, men. Wait.
Mhm.
Peace.
What?
Yeah,
CC.
peace. So this is pretty common in choral
Men on
music.
Earth.
It's a common like Christmas theme or Advent theme because and on earth peace to men.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
you often hear it at in Terra Pax Hominibus. Yes,
So Pax
Terra.
means peace in Latin.
yes, Pax is peace in Latin.
Maybe it's Spanish or something.
Latin. All right, so all the terrestrial planets also have what same 3 things that the Earth has?
A crust mantle and an iron core.
Absolutely, ding, 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 go Kai.
Whoa.
Crust mantle and an iron core. Somebody's following their notes. All right, so Venus has the thick atmosphere composed mostly of carbon dioxide, traps heat, raises the temperature. Mercury is the smallest, right? Close to the sun, you don't want to live there.
I want to live there.
Be fricasseed.
It's hot, just like me.
Earth has the suitable atmosphere. There you go. Be confident, girl. I like it. There you go. So Earth is the only one with this perfectly suitable atmosphere, right? If we did not have our atmosphere, we would be similar to the moon, right? It would be extremely hot when we're near the sun, extremely cold when we're not facing the sun, whatever side of the planet. So it would not be suitable for life or conducive to life.
If we're in the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah, exactly. Goldilocks zone. That is what they call it. Very good. Not too hot, not too cold. All right, and then you got asteroids, and they believe that they're remnants of an early solar system that never came together to form a planet.
Poor asteroid.
So what are the gas giants mostly composed of?
Helium.
Gas.
Helium.
Helium and hydrogen.
Helium.
And liquid hydrogen.
Helium and hydrogen.
That's what I was gonna say.
What else is composed of helium in our solar system?
Helium.
What is what else? is
The sun?
composed of helium?
How about sun?
Helium.
Right?
Yo.
All right. So the 4 gas giants are thought to have small, dense cores of metal and rock, but consist mainly of liquid hydrogen and helium. Jupiter is the largest and most massive. We know that. Saturn's rings are largest and most visible from Earth. Uranus's rotation is tilted more than 90 degrees, and Neptune looks blue because of what gas? Methane. Right. Okay. What's a commonly discussed source of methane on Earth?
Cows.
Who knows?
Cow what?
Farts.
Cow farts. Yeah. Cow farts.
That's funny.
Thank you, cows.
This
Yep.
talks about Jupiter.
Does it actually
Say.
make
It
diamonds?
says when it rains on Jupiter, it rains diamonds.
Yeah.
You know what else is funny
I've
about
heard
this?
that.
I just realized because we've had these frozen in the fridge for a while. Freezer, sorry. It expired in December 2009, and I ate them.
Oh, no.
It's been frozen. It's fine.
Okay.
It just
For like 11 years.
Yeah.
When it rains diamonds.
No,
on
not
Jupiter,
2009.
That's
really good
Can't be
about, like,
2009.
Just grab diamond dogs.
That doesn't make sense.
Maybe
No.
December.
2009.
It can't be 2009.
Maybe
December.
It would be
Bro.
green.
We didn't get them this year.
2019.
So yeah.
I don't know what year, but not 2009 because I did not move frozen Go-Gurts from the last house. Okay.
No, I think you did.
No, I'm sure I did not.
No, but he thinks you did.
He's like, no.
I think it says, then we amended December. Oh, but then maybe it hasn't expired. All right, so moving on from that weirdness. Tell me what a comet is. What's a comet? What's in a comet? Ivy? Wait a minute, Ivy had a hand. Wait, are you Ivy? You're not as pretty as she is either. Go ahead, Ivy. What is it?
Just the pieces of the ice.
Dusty pieces of ice and rock, right? Somebody once referred to it as a dirty snowball. That made sense to me. Come flying through Earth, right? All right,
I guess our God
What's
is full
next?
of everything else.
edge of the solar system. Kuiper Belt extends from Pluto's orbit. Most of the objects lie in that donut-shaped region. It's close to the elliptic plane. All right, Oort cloud. What's an Oort cloud? It's a sparse circle of comets that circle the solar system. We have them, they're out there. Anybody ever seen a comet? Like for real?
Yes.
I don't know if there's been one in your lifetime that's been close to
I
that.
watched the show with the comet in it.
There. So when I was a kid, Halley's Comet came and that was a big deal, but it should come again. I want to say it comes again in the 2020s or something. I don't remember. I don't think I ever got to see it, but our school pictures that year, they put that backdrop behind you and it's usually like splotchy gray or blue or something.
Yeah.
Well, that year we all had to pose on the little thing like this. And it was a picture of Halley's Comet flying over to immortalize that it was the year of the comet. No, most people say Haley.
Mom, you had to pose on the comet.
No, we posed the little, they do the little velvet chair or whatever. You don't know, 'cause
All right,
you didn't
we're
do
kinda
school
like
pictures.
I did.
They give you a little cheesy black comb and you're supposed to comb your hair, like that's gonna help. I don't know.
Oh, usually the kids when they do everything wrong, they just mess up their hair worse. when they don't.
Right?
That's what my dad did.
I don't know what I was supposed to do with the comb because my hair was like braided or something. I'm like, alrighty then.
Try and brush braided hair.
So, and remember, I think I told y'all last year about that when it was called Hale-Bopp. That comet came by. Remember, there was a Hale-Bopp. There was a whole a cult of people who thought they were going to ride away on the comet. Do you remember that? I told y'all about this. Yes, it was a whole cult of people. This is why you learn science, okay? This is why you learn science.
In California, like 20 people killed themselves in the house.
Yeah, I don't remember how many, but yeah.
They killed
They-
themselves at the same time.
And the weird thing was they all wore the same shoes. It was really creepy.
Did you have a gate?
That's what because they think.
No, yeah. Heaven's Gate, Hale-Bopp.
Do they think like their spirits will ride away on the comet?
I don't know I don't remember, but there was a dude.
I didn't like
Some like big
documentaries
house
all
in like
on
California,
that.
they all like
What did
Okay, yeah, no, that was different. So they were at what? No, maybe you're thinking of it. Anyway, it was some dude. He was like a bald guy, and he had all these videos, and he was kind of creepy looking in the videos. But basically, he had this whole group of people believing that when this comet came by, they were gonna somehow be able to metaphysically ride it to wherever they were headed, and they all wore the same shoes, and then they all they were in this big house together, and they covered themselves with sheets, and their little feet and the little identical shoes were all sticking out of the bottom when they found them all. It was bizarre, but this is why you learn
I
science.
think I saw a Shane Dawson documentary about this.
Probably.
Shane
That's
Dawson.
the
Yeah, it was Heaven's Gate. That was the name of the group, Heaven's Gate. But yeah, that's something interesting to look up too. If you like slightly macabre and really weird, yeah. Arguments for learning
Wait,
science.
why did they ride the comet? Did they like kill themselves to ride?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they were like leaving this plane and going to another plane.
On
and-
my way to heaven, I'm gonna see. I'm like,
Sorry, guys, I'm going this way. All right, so the nebular theory, all right? This is the theory that you have this rotating cloud of dust and gas, and eventually there's enough gravity for it to all compact together. And that's how you get the solar nebula, and then you get your protoplanetary disk, and then you get the little planets they call what? The little tiny, yep, planetesimals, and then you get accretion. That's the process of adding mass by colliding with other planetesimals. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, I swear y'all know.
Accretion.
The solar nebula is a large steamy cloud of dust and gas.
Yeah, we fixed that. She caught that. Yep.
did.
All right.
Big.
Thing I know because it doesn't catch that kind of thing. And then the protoplanet is the product of accretion. And then composition and size of planets. We talked about terrestrial ones and gas planets. Energy from the sun. How does the sun make its energy? What's the process?
It's a nuclear fission.
Nuclear
Nuclear.
fusion. I'm gonna start slapping people with wet noodles that say nuclear. I'm gonna arm myself with a plate of spaghetti and I'm gonna just whip it at you because that is just it sticks to your face and you'll be shamed. You'll be shamed forever.
Oh, stop talking.
Well, the other thing I used to get threatened with as a kid is that somebody would whack me with a dead fish. So I would take the wet noodle over the dead fish. I love it.
Okay.
Y'all are twisted humans. Okay.
You
So
said it, not me.
I'm talking about literal wet spaghetti noodles. I will hurl at people for saying the word nuclear ever again. I'm telling you.
What?
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so it's nuclear fusion. And what kinds of nuclei are combining to form what kind of nuclei?
You got a whack.
Oh, it's
Wait, Michael's got the answer. Two what kind of nuclei collide to conform to combine? Yes. Okay, you get two hydrogen nuclei. They fuse and they form one. Yes, helium. Michael Foster, do you know how to sit down like a
Obvious.
person?
Oh,
Migration.
that's fine.
All right, the sun's interior consists of the core, and then you got your radiation zone, your convection zone, right? And then you got your outer layer of the sun's interior, that's your convection zone, and that's what transfers the energy out, right? And then the sun has an atmosphere. What's the innermost layer of the atmosphere that's visible, which is the visible part? What part?
Photosphere.
Photo, right? What's photo? Yeah, what's photo? What does photo mean? There's another
It's
slide here.
photograph.
No.
It's a picture.
Okay, look. There's lots of things that go with photo.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Photograph.
That's a great example. Okay. That one you can think about.
Photophoto.
Change of energy.
Okay. What's synthesis?
I don't know what synthesis
So
is.
synthesize, combine, create. Photo. There's photo again. What else is photo? Photography.
Photographer. Photographer. Photographer.
Lights. Thank you, Dylan.
Let there be photo.
Photo is light. So if it's the photosphere, it's the
Light sphere.
light sphere. That's why you can see it. Chromosphere is the middle layer of the sun's atmosphere, and temperature increases. Chromo's another one. Another good root.
It's
Or
color.
sub prefix.
Color.
Color. Yep, very good.
Chroma.
I run out of room. Chromo. Color. All right. And then you got the corona.
Sea door.
All right. And then solar winds are the stream of electrically charged particles that stream outward from the corona.
Into
Somebody tell me, what is a sunspot?
the sunspot.
Oh, Ivy.
Areas of
You need to take it down now.
okay. Areas of gas in this photosphere that are cooler than the surrounding gas.
Cooler spots. Absolutely. All right. And what's a prominence? Ethan.
Huge loops of gas that erupts from sunspot.
Very good. And what's a solar flare?
Like sunspots that explode.
Yeah, it's a release of energy from the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kaboom. So
It's actually
we can-
goes forward in there.
that's the prominences that come back. Yeah. So
They both.
so when you get, so this kind of stuff, the solar flares, they can have effects all the way out here, right? Absolutely, they can. We can get warmer temperatures for, you know, periods of time, and periods of time don't mean like a day. You know, it means maybe years or months. All right, now let me see. Light year is the distance light travels in a vacuum, and how fast is it?
It's
About a year?
How much time it would take? How long? How much distance a light can go in
9.5 trillion.
9.5
kilometers.
trillion kilometers per year, right? 9.5 trillion kilometers per year is how fast light moves. Which moves faster, light or sound? Light. When you go to watch fireworks, do you see them or hear them first?
See.
Yeah, if you're a good distance away, you can watch it,
It can break Mach 1.
then you hear it, right?
It can break Mach 1.
Excellent. So,
Just cheat sound.
okay, what do you call the apparent change in position of an object with respect
Parallax.
to distance? Parallax. I love that one. That's a good word. All right, so stars are categorized by what? Size,
Size,
brightness, and
Color.
color. Okay. Which ones are hotter? Which ones are cooler?
Red is cooler, blue is
One.
hotter.
Yeah, red is cooler, blue is hotter. So what's the difference between apparent brightness and absolute brightness?
apparent is how it is on Earth, and then what was the other one?
Absolutely.
Absolute is how far it is.
Yeah, so apparent is how bright it appears from Earth, right? So a star that has an absolute brightness, which is brighter than one that is closer to us, may appear dimmer because it's far away. That was clear as mud. Okay. All right, and then we talk about absorption lines. And this is how you can identify elements in a star, right? You can take the wavelength of light and break it down, and then you know that certain elements produce certain wavelengths when they're put through basically gas spectrometers and that kind of thing are super, super, super cool. And I wish I had one, but they're probably more than a car. But the one that I used to work with was about this little deal about this big, not very fancy. And it was kind of that, you know, that putty color that they make like office cabinets.
Pink.
No, it's kind of like a
Beige.
yeah, it's like a beigey brown kind of. It's a non-color. It's like a muted taupe. And it had a screen on it, and it had a printout thing too. But it had this little rubber disc, like a tiny little rubber disc. And then what you would do is you would take this itty bitty little glass syringe with a tiny, tiny, tiny little thin needle on it. And whatever you were trying to sample, it was a liquid, you know, you
There's
could,
salamander.
you would, no, it's not salamander, that's an anole. But you would,
How could you tell?
What are we looking at?
Yeah, they're over there all the time.
Right across. They went behind the tree.
they're over there a lot. But you would, anyway, you'd pull up this tiny bit of fluid, and then you put the little needle through the little rubber disc, and when you inject it, it's sort of like, when you think about how a car engine works, it immediately turns the liquid into gas, right? And then it analyzes the light spectrum that's emitted from whatever elements are in there, and it prints out this really cool thing where you can see exactly what it is composed of. It'll come back and say, you know, the sample you put in here was 60% carbon and 20% nitrogen, and what it'll tell you. It's really, really cool. And then it'll say like trace elements, and there'll be some little bit. Super fun. Yes.
I think there might be enough for brownie point.
I had a feeling you were going
Group
there.
of stars.
Where?
It's like it's 26.4 group of stars.
No, that was in the book, wasn't it?
I thought it was groups.
No, it doesn't say it's 26.4.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I ignored that, but
Oh, yeah.
group of stars, not group.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 26.4.
Oh, yeah, that's what I missed, but that's a formatting thing,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
So I don't know. We'll have to look. It may be. Could be. All right. So anyway, let's finish where we are first. So we talked about, all right, we have giants and dwarfs, right? And you remember the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram, which had it was the square. So basically, it looks kind of like this, for those of you that remember. It's a chart like this, and they take all of the stars. They take all the stars that they can find, and they plot them on here based on size and color and brightness and all this. And what you basically end up with is this line that runs through the middle, and then the bigger ones are the outliers. They tend to be down here in the corner, And all these little ones in the middle, they call these main sequence. And those are the ones that we see most of the time and that they're the most common. So those are main sequence ones. And they're in that diagonal band. And then what do we call the, so the ones that are in the top right, oh, I did that backwards. I think it goes this way.
Yes, the supergiant.
Goes this
Get it
way.
wrong.
It's that way. Here we go. These are the main sequence. So these are the super giants, right? Up here in this corner. And then
those are the dwarves.
you got the giants down here. And then you got the white
What's
dwarfs.
the exact?
And what's a white dwarf? What's a white dwarf?
Ah,
It's like the
No.
first-
It's
No.
the names
Is
of
it
a
the
medium
very
mass
end?
star.
It's the what?
It's the very end of the.
Yeah, it's the remains of a medium mass star, right? Okay. So then we talked about nebulas a little bit, right? Cloud of gas and dust spread out over a large volume of space. Protostars we talked about. That's when your nebula starts to contract and it heats up. Planetary nebula, we did that. All right, somebody tell me about if we're in section 3, C4, we have our high mass stars. Somebody want to tell me what, so when a star collapses and you have a violent explosion, what do we call that?
Supernova.
Good, all right. And what is the one that's a spinning neutron star that gives off strong pulses? Pulsars, good. And what about the remnant of a high mass star that's exploded as a supernova?
Neutron star.
Neutron star. And then what do we call the thing that has surface gravity that's so light and everything? Okay. So I think it's supposed to say so great, actually, Henry.
yeah, see?
See, you're correct. That was, yeah, all right. All right, so then if we move on to 26-4, which is your group of stars or groups of stars, however you want to do it. I don't know if that matters too much. All right, what's a binary star?
Star system.
Two of two.
of 2 stars.
So the night what were we outside looking for? Oh, we were looking for what was the thing called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
SpaceX train.
Yes, the train of satellites. We were outside looking for the train of satellites, and I'm laying on the driveway and looking up, and the longer I stared and let my eyes adjust to the darkness and just look at the stars, the longer I stared, I noticed this one star I kept staring at. And I said, I think it's a binary system. And I looked in my star walk and zoomed in, and it was a binary system of stars. So the longer you look and let your eyes just, don't go somewhere where there's a lot of exterior light. We did our best here. We turned off all the house lights, but still.
Your neighbors didn't.
No, the neighbors in the streets didn't.
They're poop far.
So you have, yeah.
No.
All right. So you've got different kinds of star clusters. Open clusters, association clusters, and globular clusters, right? Everybody has that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, what are our types of galaxies?
Barred spiral.
Yeah.
Spiral,
Yeah.
elliptical, irregular.
Okay, so,
I started with 5 and 6 for the spiral and bar spiral galaxy.
okay, hold on. So,
6 is the cave.
if I had one that looked like this, what would you call that one?
Elliptical.
Yep. Okay. And if I had one that just looked like this, what would you call it?
Regular.
Right.
Can't see.
Sorry.
It sounds like a personal
That'd be-
problem, Michael.
All right. What if I had one that looks like
Spiral.
this?
Spiral.
That's a spiral, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the barred spiral.
I know.
Right? That one looks like this. It's got this thing going in the middle, but this bit in the middle is a little thicker, kinda. And then you get these deals that kind of come like this.
I can't see.
And that's a barred spiral, right?
Or a spiral with a ball.
Yeah.
Spiral.
Which kind do we live in?
Barred spiral.
Yep. And what's ours called?
Milky Way.
Milky
Look at it. It looks like this.
It's the chocolate bars.
The almond.
Yes, sir. It is the chocolate
Okay.
bar.
Copyright that.
I don't
All
think
right,
it's copyrighted
and
solar system.
If this was the real Milky Way, where would we be roughly?
Like
The Milky bars.
Right there.
Like down in here somewhere, right?
Have we been in the center before? Have we said
No.
No?
No, because the center is center like
Yeah,
a
we
big
just
giant one.
barely left our solar system.
It's just
No, she meant has Earth ever been in?
Yeah.
I know what she meant.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so a quasar is an enormously bright center of a distant young galaxy that we really hasn't been made into a galaxy yet.
It was quasar,
Quasar. Mhm.
I thought it was
Quasar.
The quasar. It's a French word. So what?
What's 5?
5 is Milky Way galaxy.
You didn't give like much information, like R Milky.
No.
R5.
I was hoping y'all could figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out, people.
Well,
All right.
again,
Well, you didn't. Oh well, you tried. All right, so Hubble's law talked about the speed at which the galaxy is moving away from Earth, and that's proportion to the distance. So basically, we know that everything is spreading out from a center point, right? And he talked about how you have red shift, which is light that's shifted towards red wavelengths, and it gets really involved, and we talked about it more in Earth science, and you really don't need to know too much about it for this class. So what do we think, what do we call the moment that we believe was the start of
Big Bang.
things as we know it, the Big Bang? Okay, so
And
the
then
Big
I
Bang
sure this-
Theory,
And I sure have this massive bazinga.
There you go. There you go.
Next to
so
it.
it's the theory that the universe was created billions of years ago, all at one time from a massive explosion, right? And then after the Big Bang, the universe expanded quickly and then slowed down and continues to slowly expand. So it kind of went boom, and then like that.
Just so you know,
Mhm.
it says the age of the universe. We thought we knew, and then we put another thing out here that changed it a little bit, but we still thought we knew. And then we put another thing out there that was
Mhm.
completely different. We have no idea how old the universe is.
Yeah, we don't. We can estimate our best, and the current estimates are like 13.7 billion. But these are again.
They've used 3 different systems, and they all end up with completely different words.
Mhm.
I honestly don't think that anybody can pinpoint exactly what
No.
happened. It's just
No
so
way.
long ago, and there was nothing really to document it.
Plus, you don't have first cause either way. 'Cause like, everyone's gonna disagree anyway. Atheists disagree with first cause. That, you know,
Yeah.
like everyone has a different opinion.
All right, let's stop getting into religion.
We did it.
In science class.
We didn't
say on
really.
the atheist
Yep.
side, there's no religion.
Okay. So there's that.
Big brain time.
That's true.
All right. So let's see.
Atheists.
Somebody explain to me what's dark matter.
Matter does not
That they don't.
Doesn't give off what?
radiation.
Doesn't give off radiation. Okay. Can somebody explain it in a way? Like what is
It
it?
exists.
It can't be seen directly, but its presence can be detected by observing its gravitational effect on visible matter. Oh, also,
Okay.
I haven't just said this out loud, but bazinga!
Okay. So there
So dark matter can't be seen, but we know it's there.
it can't be seen,
That's so creepy.
but we know it's there.
Lingering.
Doesn't dark matter make up like 90%
Yeah. Okay. So there's all kinds of thoughts on not just dark matter, but on what is here that we don't have a name for or a description for. So look, here's an
Matter.
example.
Ghosts.
Ghosts.
Big brain time.
You can use the app on your phone to detect like ghosts. You can use someone.
Really? That's so cool. That's so cool.
I love ghosts.
Do you
This one's
recall-
on Cynthia Clive and she's walking down my stairs.
Okay. So this is not a correct molecule. I mean, not a correct atom. It's going to be missing some stuff. All right. But you have a nucleus in the atom, right? Okay.
Is this what a ghost looks
Now,
like?
do you agree that if there's a nucleus in the middle of the atom?
Yeah.
Okay, and then these are what?
Electrons.
These are the little electrons.
Spheres.
Okay, are they touching the nucleus?
No.
No, they're buzzing around, right?
Yeah.
So what's here?
Very wide, actually.
Dark
What's-
matter.
What's there?
Dark matter.
Do we know?
No.
We don't have a clue what that is. What's here?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Huh, we don't have a clue. All right, if we have a water molecule, okay,
What are
And
the lines made out of?
it joins up.
That's what I
Yeah,
was thinking.
that's what I was about to say. It joins up with another water molecule here. What's there? We don't
As London would say,
We have no idea what this is. We don't know what's here, but we know that there's more of this stuff. We know that there's more of that stuff
Then there is.
than there is of this stuff.
So wait,
There's more whatever than
What?
there is what.
Like, what are those minuses?
You're made of more whatever than you are what?
You're
You're
such a
made of
whatever.
what is not known than what is known.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We know more of what, we know less of what you're made of than we do of what you're made
We're
of
all
that we
more
don't
dark
know.
than we are.
Yeah. And when you think about it, like,
No one can see
it doesn't have mass that we detect in the way that we detect mass, right? It doesn't, there's no radiation being emitted from those areas. But we know that it's there because we understand how molecules function, we understand how atoms function. And then the question becomes this, and this always reminds me of Men in Black. So say you've got, just say that this is your nucleus, okay?
Okay.
And here's your cloud of electrons, all right? And you have this electron right here. Okay, there's your electron, it's negative.
I can't.
What's in that?
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, what makes up the protons and electrons and neutrons
Yeah.
and the atoms?
Now we know these are, we know that they're probably some
It's
type
all
of,
matters angry.
Oh no.
it's okay.
The ghosts are angry. It's the ghosts.
Guys, yo. It's some kind of subatomic particle. Something, what's in here?
Well,
Is
makes up-
this made of other
well, what makes
things?
up those subatomic particles?
You know at the end of Men in Black when they say the galaxy's on Orion's belt and there's the marble
The
on
cat.
the cat's
Yes.
collar and then in it is like a whole universe and then in that is like another, it's like those dolls that you stack. I mean, what's in
They're
there?
Russian.
We have no idea what's in there.
Here's
The
just
Russian-
Russia.
The Russian dolls.
So there's
Yeah.
a Johnny Test episode where he shrinks.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Test.
Oh.
He shrinks himself down to the point where they
Oh, yeah,
enter
another
an alternate
universe?
universe. So what if we are an alternate universe?
Stop!
Guys, what if we're a simulation?
I love that.
You're making
Like
me
if
read.
human race.
What if it's the Matrix?
1 out of 10. Plot got too confusing too quickly. Lord got too deep.
What if
Keanu
it's
Reeves-
the Truman Show? You know?
Uh-oh. It's the Truman Show.
All right.
Oh, just
First-
Flash the break. Oh, fly hydro flash.
And I
No.
Y'all, did anyone, hey, did anyone do a Rico?
Nope.
No?
I
Yeah.
Nobody did you did a Rico? Okay, well then you automatically win since you the only Rico.
Oh,
Okay, then
I put my Rico in space. I just wrote is in space.
is in space.
wow.
Okay. Oh, I didn't bring any. I owe you. I didn't bring any down. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hand you back your homework, and we're gonna grade them. Okay.
And I oop. And
I
I oop.
Henry,
Did you?
you're allowed to.
Hang on, maybe. No, not the lab. That I gotta look over those. Okay, Michael, Paul, Henry, Heinrich.
I just spelled it.
I know. Kai. Oh,
My God.
Kai Flowers. That's English, right? This must be Dylan. Oh, excellent. This is excellent. I like that.
Dylan and Alan.
Okay, I'll hang on to that. Aaron, Shannon, Ivy. Oh,
There's like
Hotel.
you have yours there?
half on the back.
Who's this one?
Who's missing?
Nobody? Did I give you yours?
I think that might be mine.
I think it is.
That was well.
Yeah, because these are all the little guys now. Okay. Okay, so somebody give me your answer to number 1. Cole?
The heliocentric model is one in which the planets or the suns orbit around the Earth. A heliocentric system is one where the planets orbit the sun.
Okay, everybody have something similar?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, somebody want to give me number 2?
Then
Where's your hand up? Okay, Michael.
Pro-planetary disk,
Mm-hmm.
and then planetismals,
Yeah.
and then accretion, and then
Perfect.
nebula.
Everybody make sure you got that.
What was you?
So nebula, proto,
So no.
protoplanetary disk.
One sec.
Yeah.
I screwed this up.
No.
I did
You're good.
star signs.
I did this.
Yeah, I did the same.
It's okay.
I just. Okay, sorry. Now.
Okay, nebula,
Planetary disk,
protoplanetary disk.
planetismals.
Oh, I can't spell that.
Hang on. PLANETESIMALS.
Syndrome.
The one after that was accretion, ACCRETION. And then the last one was protoplanet, PROTOPLANET. T-O planet. There's another one. Proto. What's proto?
Trojan, it's a good antivirus.
Prototype?
Yeah, prototype. It's in that word. What's proto?
What was the second one?
Protoplanetary disk,
It was-
planetesimals,
Before.
accretion, protoplanet. Yeah, this is like early, first,
Prototype. Early.
before, yeah, that kind of thing.
The prototype.
I'm trying to write backwards. It's kind of hurting. Yeah, like a prototype. All right, so what are areas in the photosphere that are cooler than the surrounding gases?
Wait.
Oh, sunspots.
Sunspot. How about huge loops of gas that erupt from sunspot regions? Prominences. And how about a sudden release of energy from the surface of the sun?
Solar flares.
Solar flares. All right. Somebody want to give me what they have for number 4? Explain how a high mass star becomes a pulsar. Michael?
It got too much mass, so it collapsed on itself.
Okay. Anybody have anything to add or anything different?
I got high mass star to neutron star to pulsar.
Oh, it's
Okay.
spinning new.
Yeah, I got spinning one more.
That's good too. All that's good. All of that. Those are all good answers. All right. How about explain what data and observation support Hubble's law and how Hubble's law relates to the Big Bang Theory?
Redshift.
Michael, you're up again.
It is supported by the fact that far galaxies have redder wavelengths opposed to closer ones that blue
There you go. Yep.
or closer.
It's
It
all
relates to
redshift,
the Big Bang
redshift.
Theory because if there was no Big Bang, it would mean things would be. The Big Bang theory has that things are expanding apart from each other.
Right.
So that the wavelengths are different based on.
You got the right idea.
Oh.
All right. Do you have anything else to add, Henry?
It's widely used.
Well, yeah, that I don't know that that helps prove it, but yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Enjoy
Right.
the
Hold
high
on,
mark.
let me go over here and oops, I did not mean to open that file. Let's see if I can give you any help
Close
for
that file.
any studying ideas, and then I'm going to give you a few minutes to if I were you, I would either as a group study for your test, or you could start working on next week's notes.
I have flashcards.
So wait a minute, let me help you with before you do that, let me give y'all some, hang on, don't go anywhere. I'm gonna tell y'all what to study.
I'm listening.
Give me one second,
One
attention.
question you tell us then. First in the notes. You don't need to read it.
All right, so this is test 4, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually test. Why test ahead? Because
Huh?
it says I did test 3 and 4. It makes me confused.
You didn't do 4.
Oh, really?
You're not tagged for that.
I didn't do it.
Wait, why are your rocks up?
Okay, are we ready to kind of review?
That will kill my phone.
Okay, so you may want to go through your notes and highlight. So you may want to know what kind of units we use in space for measuring. And you may want to know why the moon has such variance in temperatures.
So is the test directly from the notes?
Pretty much. If you study the notes, you should always be good for the test. And you should always keep all your tests, all your notes and things like that, because in the future, there might just be some midterms or quarterly tests that might have this information on
It
them.
might,
Ivy?
What the moon? What?
Oh, why the moon has such a variance in temperature. Okay? And you might want to know some things about the 3 major types of surface features on the moon.
My favorite.
Maria highlights the 3 types.
Maria.
Maria.
You can't sing it the way it was written for West Side Story because the accent is on the wrong syllable.
How does he say that again?
It's not Maria, it would be Maria. I just met a girl named Maria. All right, let's see.
This is Maria.
You're gonna want to know, guys, you're gonna want to know about tides, what causes them, and what different kinds there are.
The moon.
Great. And you're gonna want to know about what the other terrestrial planets have in common with Earth. And, oh, I just saw a little typo that I will fix. And then you're going to want to know what types of gases the gas giants are mainly composed of. You're gonna want to know that thing we just went over where everybody wrote stuff down about planet creation, starting with nebula. Going to want to know about the sun's interior regions.
You're gonna want to know about beach ball game.
You're going to want to know about solar winds and sunspots. And I think that's about it. That should be
Cool.
wait.
By Hydro.
Hold on, I have to scroll. Oh, there's more. I had to scroll.
Wait.
Surface features of the sun.
And I
Surface what?
Surface features of the sun. That question that Michael just answered about Hubble's law. And how a high mass star becomes a pulsar. All y'all had good answers. And then, let me see what this looks like real quick. I have to look at it because I can't see. Oh, you're going to be able to recognize galaxies by how they look. Now you have 12 minutes until Spanish. So what I would do if I were you is I would either study these things together or start looking at next week's notes. Remember, starting next week, it's real, legitimate physical science. Anything late, starting next week is late, right? Okay, and remember that these tests and stuff, most of them I've done my best to set them for noon. So they have to be done before class starts, right? Not like midnight or whatever. It's like that same day. All right, good deal. I'm gonna go. There wasn't any lab write-up today, so that makes it easier for y'all. I'm gonna fix this one thing I spelled wrong right there. Okay. Where did it go? Where's my phone?
What the hell?
Ding, 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 ding.
Looks like a runner's.
I know. I don't like how it feels.
Oh my
I
gosh.
hope that's not what she said.
Yeah.
All right, let's play on something good.
I never got
Oh, I probably still have it right here then. Oh yeah, I have things to hand back to y'all. Thanks for reminding me. A whole ton of them. That's you. That's you. Shannon. 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 Henry. Thank you for reminding me that I had things to pass back. Lily. Ivy.
What is this?
Ivy. Dylan. Kai.
Send this to me.
Sid. Okay, if you're giving very, very thoughtful answers and very well written answers, I might, Michael, this is you, I might just add extra credit. I did that. I had some of my younger group were really giving amazing answers. So yeah, I might just do that. You never know, man. Those are all Shannon's, I think. Shannon. I am trying to find the one I have to change.
I was studying.
Sam, I love that. It's such a boss.
See this.
What word?
Mutual study.
There's like 4 songs.
My favorite episode about the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, sorry, what? I heard Buffy. What's your favorite?
You remember, I think it was something blue, and it was where Willow, she was like wishing stuff, and she didn't know that she was like cursing everybody.
Yeah.
Like when she was playing in the back.
Oh, really? That's what you said. Everybody. Yes, everybody